Hi, welcome to Social Work 636. This is the course overview. This is the first of several videos that will be given this week. I think there are three for the first week. So follow along, listen, do the class at your own pace. The purpose of the class is basically to teach you about organizations, both organizations, what they do, why they do it, but also how you can practice within the organization, in particular the idea of program development. Organizations, as you'll see, are critically important for us in this process of providing effective social work services. Everything we do is in organizations, or at least almost everything we do is supported by organizations. And the quality of the organization is critical to our ability to provide positive services. So in this class, we will look at organizations, what makes organizations work well, how to make an organization better, but also a final couple of pieces are in terms of the practice that you do. Increasingly, we are, by necessity, entrepreneurs. We have to learn how to provide services with funding that we develop. People no longer just give us money out of the goodness of their hearts. This class used to be called the grant writing class. It's called the grant writing class because we write a grant in it. That's our primary purpose, in terms of primary assignment. But of equal importance to that is that as the world is shrinking in terms of the resources that are available to social work, we ourselves must become policy entrepreneurs. So with that in mind, the primary assignments, as you'll see shortly, are related to grant writing. And finally, how to be a good manager. Most of you, whether you know it or not, will be managers at some point in your very, very near-term career. There are entire degrees you can get in management. Unfortunately, we don't have time to cover all the things that are important, but we'll begin you on that process. So sit back, enjoy the videos, enjoy the readings, and away we go. Okay, so let's start with the text that you need for the class. There are three class texts plus a whole bunch of books and materials that are available online through links. The two that you want to purchase, most importantly, are Brody, Effectively Managing and Leading Organizations, and Kettner, Designing and Managing Programs. Both of these will be critical for success of the class. You also will want to get a program evaluation text. The text that you purchase is entirely on your own. There are several good ones out there. Almost any text that's called social work evaluation or program evaluation would be appropriate. If you find one that's useful to you and you would like to ask me about it, please feel free. Grading. You have basically three types of assignments in here. You have posts that you will post where you answer some questions. You will respond to other people's posts. And then you will also have three specific written assignments. But the cool part about that is that all of these assignments work toward the final submission of a fundable grant. So as we talk about these, again, understand the major project for the class is this fundable grant, and we are going to work very hard to get you to a place where you can do that. So here is the overall distribution of assignments, due dates, and content. The first of these is the shared case, which many of you are already available, already seen in many cases. You can find that in the shared files section under Module 1. There are 7 modules for the class, 7. Each of these lasts approximately 2 weeks. Within those 7 modules, there are 3 opportunities where you must post and respond. The first of these is in this first week period here, which is the shared case review. So most of you have seen this already, but review it, answer a few questions about it, and post. Where do you post? You post under the message board, and there are places in there where you can post your messages, your initial posts. You must also respond to someone else's post along this way. Again, you'll place that when you do, you'll hit reply. I've got some instructions on that that I'll show you shortly. Second of these is a leadership inventory. You must post that by September 22nd, again in shared files, and then you must respond a week later. and then a budget template. This budget will also help you toward the final grant submission. Okay, the first major assignment now is an organizational capacity assessment. We'll be talking about that very shortly, but here what you're going to be doing is looking at the organization and its ability to take on a project. Now, what's cool about this is that much of this material that goes in the assessment you will use within your grant. So it's not like you're doing this assignment and sort of throwing it away. You're doing it with this grant in mind at the end. Secondly, a statement of need, program goals, that is due on November 2nd, which will give me some opportunity to provide feedback for you, because both the statement of need and the program goals and objectives go into your final proposal, as does, again, much of the organizational capacity assessment. And then the final proposal, which takes the feedback from the first two, adds the budget material and a few other things. That's due last day of class, December 7th. So, first assignment, the organizational capacity assessment. What you're going to do is determine the capacity of an organization to seek new funding to expand services. Now, it is critical that you understand, absolutely critical that you understand, that a grant comes from an organization, not an individual. You are writing it, but you're doing it for an organization, which means you must find an organization pretty quickly. We'll talk more about that shortly. Again, as mentioned, most of the content that will go into the organizational capacity assessment is descriptive, and several of the sections will go directly into your final proposal, subject to any changes that I suggest. The full assignment and rubric follow in the syllabus. Process. Again, your organization that you do your assessment of should be the one you're writing your grant for. It can literally be any organization you want, as long as it meets a couple of criteria. It should be a 501c3 or similar, which means what? It means that it should be a nonprofit organization. It's very difficult to get funding for for-profit organizations. So you really want this organization to be nonprofit. Most of you can use your field placement. If you don't want to use your field placement, you might be a part of a church or a synagogue or other religious institution, or you might be a member of a community group or voluntary organization, even a sorority or a fraternity that you're a part of. So it can be any organization that you wish. But critically important, again, grants go to organizations, not to individuals. So when you write this grant, you submit on behalf of the organization. This has some important effects for your grade. In nothing you submit in assignment 1, 2, or 3 should have I, me, or we in it anywhere. I will repeat that. No I's, we's, or me's. Because we might be okay, but I, me, or my. Because you're submitting on behalf of an organization. Even though you're writing it for an organization, so you're representing the organization. Finally, if you don't have an organization, I can link you to one. I have several possibilities here. Here are the elements of the organizational assessment. I will go over that in a subsequent assignment for you, or this video a little bit later. Here are the questions you're going to want to address. Again, I'll pick this up in a subsequent video. But now I want to jump to the final paper and grant proposal. The final assignment is to prepare a grant proposal for a new program at your organization. This can be any size, small to large, although small to medium size will be a lot easier if you've never written a grant before. Although the organization is ultimately responsible whether to submit a proposal, you are strongly encouraged to discuss this assignment with your field supervisor or other appropriate organizational staff, because you may want to do this grant proposal for real. You don't have to, but you might want to. If you do, you will have some questions that you want to ask your director. First, I have to write a grant. Is there a program or a need that we would like to address in our program? If they say yes, you ask, can I do it? If they say yes, then you want to ask them if they have a funder in mind. If they do, you will follow the instructions in what's called the request for proposals, or RFP, from that funder. If not, you will use a standard proposal format. I have that in subsequent pages, which we will spend a lot of time going over in class. Then you have the message board posts. There are 3 of them: the shared case. Here, the second one is the leadership inventory, and the final one is the budget template. So I will go over each of these in some detail as we move along. Questions? Email is absolutely the best way to reach me. I tend to get back, if it's before 6 o'clock at night, I'll get back almost immediately. After 6 o'clock, you have to wait till the following morning. I will be in my office most Wednesdays, probably from 10 to noon, and then from 2 to 3, and Thursdays by appointment if you wish. I also have a Google phone voice, but I'm having trouble getting it to work. But if you do want to call me, you can call me in my office number, 499-1284. But the best way to reach me is through email. So that is a quick overview of class. Remember, 7 modules, 3 written assignments, 3 message board posts. You must respond to 3 other people in those message board posts. And, of course, the reading. Every 2 weeks, you will receive 1 or 2 files from me with lecture notes. I will put both lecture notes on in share files under the module 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, as well as sending you a quick little lecture like this to cover some of the main points. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. This is the first of 3 that you will be seeing this week. I will welcome you to the class. Be well.